wanted to share another experience. That's okay. It was a mix between the real side and the physical. Well, not really a mix, since the real side is always right here or right now. So, no, it was just an experience that I had. I was on the bus and I was coming back home because I had gone out and about that day, just kind of doing like random things, you might say. And anyways, I was coming back home on the bus, and it had been later in the night. And the reason I say that, or that it was later in the night, is because at that time of the night, there's only certain few individuals that ride the bus. Maybe, you know, on the daytime, of course, it's packed. Around this hour, which was around 9:30 at night, it may be like one or two, three people, maybe. So anyways, I'm one of those few people at this hour of the night. It's about 9:30. And anyways, I'm sitting on the bus and we stop. I'm not sure on what street, but anyways, we make a quick stop because we're picking up this other individual. And he steps onto the bus, and I could see he has a book in his left jacket pocket. It's sort of sticking out of his pocket. And I noticed that his outward appearance is sort of like he may be perceived as if he had lived on the streets for a while, or sort of out and about. You know, maybe he hadn't bathed in a while, or whatever the case is, but he had that outward appearance. Well, anyways, he sat relatively close to myself, and it was fine. He sat maybe like off to my left-hand side, but a little forward up. So like a row over and then upward. Well, anyways, I really wouldn't think too much of his character if it hadn't been for this awareness that came through that he was on either some kind of drug, or that he was under some kind of mind control, like an MK Ultra kind of like a sleeper type of thing. And that came through very strong because he kept staring at me through the entire bus ride. And, you know, of course, usually people in the bus, they keep their eyes sort of to themselves for the most part, unless they're going to have a conversation with you, is what I've noticed, at least where I stay at, you know, in my city. And no, he kept kind of glancing over at me. But every time he glanced over at me, I could see him wanting to do something that was violent. Either that he had this kind of anger underneath the surface. And again, I didn't know if it, because maybe he had taken some kind of a drug, or he just had a hard day, or, you know, whatever is going on with him, or if it was some kind of like mind control, like he was being sent to attack me or something, you know, or maybe even somebody paid him. But anyways, every time he would look at me, I could feel this sharp penetrating energy going around at my neck area, where it would make you want to pull up your collar. You know, it was really rather uncomfortable. And I've gotten that before, and it's helped me avoid certain situations. And anyways, so like I said, every time he keeps looking at me, and he's already looked at me probably several times, and every time it's the same thing. And there, I noticed there's this building pressure, you might say, like when you keep a lid on a pot and you're boiling water, well, steam starts to build up in that pot, and eventually, if the lid is sealed, it will pop. Well, anyways, it was interesting because as this was happening, you know, I was thinking, or not thinking, but I was trying to see a way to diffuse the situation without getting into some kind of altercation. You know, what would be the best kind of solution here? I mean, I'm able to defend myself, but if we could just avoid that from the real side, because again, everything comes from the real side through agreements and sort of like intents. And it's all kind of lining up here for this event to possibly take place. So I was looking to the real side and my real awareness first. And so I was in this position. I kept trying to center in my awareness while also keeping an indifference to what he's doing energetically, sort of like attacking me. And as I was in this position, it was like all of a sudden, everything around me, even the bus, had moved in slow motion. And I didn't even realize that I was moving in slow motion. And all of a sudden, this view opened up to where I could see my true self in front of me, and either under the guidance of a golden guide, or under the surveillance, you might say, or the observance of a golden guide, my true self was there, or this other part of myself. And it was doing almost it reminded me of like Aikido. If anyone's familiar with Aikido, it's like a martial arts, but it's not so much where it's like you outwardly attack somebody, it's like whatever energy they send at you, you're able to use it against them. So let's say they run at you, you're able to utilize their momentum to either defend yourself, deflect their attack, or you know, kind of throw them away from yourself. But it's more of like a defensive thing. It really can be. And I could see that I was doing this kind of like a keto type of thing is the best way I could describe it, to where he was sending this, it looked white too. That was the interesting part, because people have this idea about white is that it's like a purity. But he was sending this white, almost silvery kind of arrow, and it looked like it was trying to go up and through the top of my aura. And anyways, I could see my real awareness just basically coming through, and it put its hands out. It put both its left and its right hand out, and it deflected this dart right back at him. And this is the time when everything in the bus had been moving in slow motion. Well, anyways, as again, everything was moving in slow motion in the physical realm, in the physical way, I didn't realize that I had lifted my arm, my left elbow, and I had started to kind of wipe at my face. And sometimes I do that. I take my hand and I wipe over my mustache and whatever. But it was different in this way because it was like I was running on autopilot. I did not consider to raise my arm. Was not conscious that it was happening. It was just sort of like a reaction or a reflex in relation to what my real awareness was doing. And I realized that by lifting my elbow, because again, everything is light and sound frequency and angles and certain things like that, that the way that in which I had lifted my arm in this slow motion manner and that I had pointed my elbow at him, it enabled this technique to take place. And again, I was not consciously aware that, you know, this was something to do. It was just through the connection through my real awareness that I was able to intuitively and then physically translate it to where I was able to diffuse the situation. Because after I did that, after I had angled my elbow at him and my real awareness had deflected that little kind of arrow back at him, that I noticed all of a sudden his shoulders dropped. He went from being really kind of tight, really up in the shoulders, to very low in the shoulders. And I could see it was like he caught a breath of fresh air. It's like he didn't know where he was at, or he didn't know what was going on, to where he just caught a breath of fresh air. You know, like when someone splashes water on you and then you wake up all of a sudden. And after that, he ceased to look at me. He ceased to kind of keep glancing over his shoulder and kind of staring at me. And he ceased to do all of that. And it was just in time for my bus stop. And even when I'm telling you right now, I can tell that the darkies or the dark forces really don't want me to share that. They're kind of coming at me. But that I just wanted to share this last little piece about that experience, is that with the connection to our real awareness and really utilizing our intuition, anything is available to us, even if it seems silly at first, like, oh, I don't know why I would do that, or why I would do this in that way, or something like that. You know, if you have all these kind of literalization, rationalization thoughts that you create, you know, with the connection to your real awareness and your intuition, it does make sense, because that's beyond the mind. And I'll even share another mini experience to kind of relate to that with the intuition and the real awareness. And I remember I was having this real side experience, a separate one, where I was writing the NUUU on some test papers that I was taking a really important exam. It was really important, and I remember I was all of a sudden I had the impression, the little kind of nudge, as if again my real awareness kind of coming and tapping me on the shoulder, telling me, you know, to write the NUUU on the paper, so that a way the teacher will grade my paper fairly. Because again, in these funny little situations and every day in our daily life, we have to keep an awareness that everybody around us is sort of like an agent, you know, for the dark forces. You know, they're agreeable to an extent, whether it's through religion, emotional attachments, or just their unawareness, you know. And it's not like a put down, it's just a position that you have to be, you know, aware of constantly, you know, in a way to kind of see it that way. And so anyway, something told me to put the NUUU on the test paper so the teacher would grade my paper fairly and not give in to the influences around her of reptilians or anybody, or even the Kalam God, to where she would possibly fail me or be a little harsh in her criticism. And I remember all of a sudden I create an idea in my mind that, oh, wait, this isn't a really important test paper. It's official. I can't write on it and all this like stuff. I started to create all these blocks, all these little blockades for myself as to why I couldn't do it. And I remember I ended up doing it anyways. I was like, yeah, but I need to do it. I remember that's what it came down to, was I need to do that. I need to write the NUUU regardless. And all of a sudden my real awareness came in and started to send me impressions. And it said, never miss an opportunity to write the NUUU on anything. Even if you think you're going to get in trouble, even if you think this document is really important, or that it's some kind of officialness or whatever it is, never miss an opportunity to write the NUUU, because you never know who's going to see it and what's going to take place from that, And so I could see that had a lot of different applications. So anyways, I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, let me say, yeah, that's great. Very, very good. Jeremy, and yes, on some of my documents where you have a line and then people are to sign the document signatures, well, what I do is really tiny, lowercase letter NUUU across there, so it looks like a kind of a fluffy little dark line, but it says it's the new all across that. I've been doing that for a lot of years, where you don't kind of notice it, but subliminally it's there on the document. And these documents have went around the world and gotten acceptance also. So yeah, little puns like that. But also the bus thing, that's cool. Yeah, confrontation. There's in the movies, there's funny situations. There's a little short video about 10 minutes with Pee Wee Herman. It's called Tequila. It's on YouTube, and he goes into this bar with all these Hell's Angels, and he wants to make a phone call. Well, they're really noisy, so he tells them to shoot, and then they come over there and they want to hang him and obliterate him, but he kind of turns it around. So I look at situations. I always kind of prepare myself with something kind of funny to say, something kind of interesting or whatever, to say to people. And just like when the fella put his arms down, maybe you could have gone over there, but it doesn't matter. It's a cool experience. I said, are you okay now? And would you like to go get a soda or, whatever, but bring a little humor into the situation. That always makes it fun. Be ready to say something or bring something in when you don't know what to say. So, and a lot of people don't. They don't. So all the years that I practice out in the public and on little radio shows and all that, I'm always ready to say something and to get people to laugh. That breaks the ice right away. You see, so you went through that scene where he was going to attack you, but see that little short video with Pee Wee Herman, and he broke the ice with him. They were going to hang him and right in the bar, but he did a little dance, went out there, they gave him a motorcycle, he popped off. Laughter breaks the ice, and so you have something fun to say. Val and I watch Seinfeld a lot, get ideas, but they just come to me. I see situations. I look at every situation, and I look to see how is it that I can make people giggle a little bit, because it just changes all of it right away. Yeah, just that laughter, and it's like everything's okay. So again, those are terrific experiences. Yeah, you've got your own book there, young man. And you're the big risk taker here. You're the great witness, one of the great witnesses. And so, yeah, you get to go out there and publish that on Lulu. Kelsey will show you how. Put it together, publish it on Lulu, and put it out there. Thank you.
It also reminds me of something Paul said about relaxation, about being, we want to relax, because this is a cause and effect aggravation here that we're in. So I studied the Systema. It's a Russian martial art health system. for a few years. And the idea was not to destroy your opponent, but to help him relax, just help him feel comfortable, or don't get yourself into an uncomfortable situation, and make him feel, make him feel relaxed, basically. It may involve some pain, but, help him be relaxed to diffuse the situation. So it just kind of reminded me of your experience on the bus too.